Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Daniel Kamay. Today we're going to talk about how to beat the Alekhine's defence with, I think you see a WFM, Zoe Varney? I think she's a WFM, right? It's a good friend of mine. I should know this, really. It's quite embarrassing. I don't even know if she's a WFM or not. I think she's trying to become a WIM and then a WGM and then like a full GM, right? Because there's no actual female player in the UK that's ever become a full GM. Like Jovanka Huska and Harriet Hunt have probably come the closest in terms of rating. But I'm not sure if they've got any GM norms actually. Possibly they have. Anyway, apparently in this game, this is a monster prep game. I've seen some of these British tournaments recently. There's a tournament just finished in Torbay where Daniel Gallagher had a very good result. I think he finished second outright on Harry Grieve. And Harry Grieve is also very well prepared. And Daniel Gallagher's game against Keith Farkle was just probably all preparation. Like a phenomenal game. But it looked like it was just, or he'd seen a lot of the ideas before. It was a huge amount of prep. So yeah, we're seeing that in English chess now, that people are very well prepared. Be aware that if you play a certain opening. So we're going to have a look at the Alekhine's defence today, and Zoe was white. So he went e4. Now this is a player, Siraj. He's quite a dangerous player, and I've had a lot of problems playing him. I played him in Bournemouth earlier this year. I won the game. There was also an Alekhine's defence, but I didn't get a good position at the opening. In fact, I was worse at one point, definitely at least slightly worse, maybe clearly worse. So it's always a player I've had trouble playing against, and I played him in Huddlesfield also earlier this year. Seems like this year's just gone on forever, and that game ended in a draw. I was black in that game. He's beaten some. I've seen him beat some good players. He beat Matthew Turner in a very nice game earlier this year in Isle of Wight, and he also beat the same tournament I played him in Bournemouth. He beat Craig Hanley, who was the top seed in round 2 on the Saturday morning. So he's a very dangerous attacking player. So fair play to Zoe. Zoe's probably the one player I've seen that's actually dealt with Siraj the best. And I think that was due to prep. So he often plays the Alekhine. The problem with if you play the Alekhines every game, you obviously become a little bit predictable. The Alekhine opening, or the I think there's another name for the Alekhine, right? But it's generally called the Alekhines, or I think the correct pronunciation of Alexander Alekhine's name is Alekhine. Alexander Alekhine was a former world chess champion, and he was from Russia, and he ended up emigrating. He was an emigre because he was from Russian nobility, and he didn't agree. He wasn't a Bolshevik, anything like that. Didn't really agree with a lot of the government's policies. Decided to emigrate. He had some kind of dubious associations with German nationalists and stuff like that. He ended up dying in a Portuguese hotel room, and there were theories that he'd been bumped off by the Soviet establishment. You know, they sort of sent agents to kill him. But he had a drinking problem as well, so he had a lot of issues. But he was a great chess player, phenomenal chess player, one of the greats of his era, certainly maybe one of the greats of all time. So, okay, anyway, that's enough babbling for me. So, the main line, I actually had a game yesterday in the Blitz where my opponent took on e5. I took out a pawn. I decided to be a little bit different. I saw a game Michael Adams played recently against Tony Miles, where at some point, it was later in the game that he took with a pawn. I thought, actually, that's maybe an underestimated way to play. Because if you take with a pawn, you get a space advantage. But that game went like this. Bishop g4. I think here he should have got e6. I think that would have been quite good for black. Because if c4, then knight b4. And otherwise, you're going to get knight d7 quickly or knight c6 quickly. And you're going to be doing quite well. So I think he should have gone there. I didn't know the theory with d8. I just thought I'd make up a board. Because I know if you take with a knight, they're quite happy to go knight d7. They're happy to allow this sacrifice. Knight takes up 7. That's also like loads of theory as well. So I wanted to avoid that. But Siraj in this game went g6. And when I played him in Bournemouth, I didn't play anything like as well as Zoe did. Bishop c4. Bishop b3. G7. Now knight G5 is played. I think this is... I realised that after I played Siraj. This is a critical line. This is a line you should probably go for. Because obviously you're attacking F7. You know, if castles doesn't necessarily solve all your problems, because you've still got Queen F3, I guess. I don't know the theory that well here. But E6 I know is a line. Queen F3, Queen E7. But now Zoe played a great move, which apparently is still in her preparation. Knight E4. Black took on E5. Maybe that was a mistake, I don't know. But there's lots of threats now. Bishop G5 is a threat. Knight F6 might be a threat. So you could go H6, but then that allows a Knight F6 check, which looks a bit ugly. Because now you either have to take on F6, then move the queen again, waste even more time, or move the king. So that doesn't look ideal. You could play that, but it doesn't look great. But he went for this line, which apparently was down her preparation. Knight F6 again might be moved. Bishop F6, great move, I think. That's a great move because it removes a defender. So when you're attacking, the golden rule is if you've got more attacking pieces and they've got defenders, your attack tends to be successful. If they've got more defenders and you've got attackers, then your attack often fails. Bishop F6 is a great move. And then White went Queen G5. I mean, I would consider moves. I mean, I think Queen G5 again is a great move. I would consider moves like H4, but then they quickly go Knight D7 and they're attacking the queen. So the attack can peter out. But Queen G5... Yeah, I wonder here if Black should go Knight D7 anyway. But the problem is then I think she's probably intending Queen H6 or something. No, maybe not Queen H6. Yeah, I wonder what would happen if this was a move. Because in the game you went F5, but that is quite a risky move because that's quite weakening. So it's quite an ambitious move, but it's also quite weakening. So I would say that's maybe dubious. But Knight D7, what would happen then? You do have moves like F4 as well. Maybe F4 is what she was intending. Because you can't, the point is that the pin, you can't take because of the queen is hanging. F6 is possible though. Bishop E6, move the king. Queen. So lots of attacking moves here. Maybe Queen H6 is an attacking move. And if you, but I guess Black can defend it. Yeah, I don't think this is very good because Knight G5 is Queen E5, Queen G7, for example, or Knight F6. Also possible. So it's either H4 or F4, I would guess. Not sure. I feel like maybe that was a better defence. There's also Knight C6. The Queen is kind of out of the game here. This is a problem for Black. The Queen is kind of out of the game. But now Queen H6 is probably good. Now Queen H6. Yeah, you can't play this, I don't think, because Queen H6. Well, there's F6 though. And maybe Knight C6 was a line. But he went F5. I think maybe that might already be a bad move. It's amazingly played this Knight H7 move, which is a great move. But would you find it without computer prep? That's the problem. Very difficult move to find, but so he found it, and then H4, and then basically just getting peeled out like a banana with H5. And obviously you've got no defenders. This is what I was saying about having defenders. You've only got that rook. It's just solitary. The queen out and A5 is not doing anything. H5 is coming. So he took. With the idea of Queen E5. H5, Queen E5, Queen G7. Defending. So this is obviously still part of a prep. Well, actually I think by this, I think she said she prepped up to move 17. So this is maybe the first move that she had to find on her own. F4 is a great move because it stops Queen E5. It's a great defensive move by Black. And now you're ready to go with this H5. Ready to roll with this H5. So he took H5. Now she just finished off very nicely. Queen E7, great move. So you got two threats. You're threatening Queen H7, checkmate. You're also threatening to take on E6. That's the problem why Queen G7 doesn't work, because the bishop takes E6. And then Black just loses a huge amount of material. It's going to get checkmated as well, probably. So out of desperation, Siraj played Queen E7, and he went. Zoe played great move, Rook F8, Rook H8, and he resigned because after King takes H8, Queen F8 is checkmate. If we go back to that position, like when did they leave theory? So this is all well-known theory. Queen e7, knight e4, top move, best move. Takes, top move. Bishop g5, queen b4, best move. c3, queen a5, bishop f6, bishop takes, queen takes, castles. Queen g5 is not very well known. So queen e5 is normally played. So after queen e5, black can obviously go for the ending. Queen takes e5. In fact, black seems to win some games here. Fierre's won. I mean, one player I would know, Fierre, I didn't realise he played the Alekhine. One player I would say who played the Alekhine a lot, which is probably not as active as he was Alexander Baburin, who's a former Russian GM and now living in Ireland. So he moved to Ireland many, many years ago and had a successful sort of chess career in Ireland, got over 2600. But he was somebody who would basically stick with the Alekhine no matter what. But it does give white big space advantage. So apparently this position is probably slightly better for white, I would imagine. What's it saying? Yeah, it's not really giving white. Well, what about queen g5? So I did mention knight c6 was a move. f5 is still okay. What about this knight d7 move? That's actually okay. You've got comp here for white. There's no way to win tactically. I was thinking about f4, but then maybe f6 is a move. f6 is a move, but f5 is even better. Yeah. Oh, maybe f4 actually. Yeah. f4 is the move. Yeah. It's actually when you stick it on the engine and wait for a while, it actually gives white a big edge. So knight d7 isn't playable. The only way to defend easily is with knight c6. So if you ever get this as black, you have to fire knight c6. Only move. It's a good prep by Zoe because, well, maybe not the only move, but the only move not to be seriously worse, apparently. And then it leads to an unclear position. You can go knight f6, knight h5, f4, and stuff like that. d5 is also possible. So knight d7 leads to white's advantage because of f4. And then after f6 you go here. And then if we take, so there's some variation like this. Cackles. So f5, so what was the point where the losing mistake was made? Knight f6 check. Oh, it's already losing. Yeah, f5 is a bad move. That's what I suspected in the game. I think it took the engine a while to realise that f5 is lost. Yeah, knight h7 is crushing. So f4 is correct. It's not the only. No, it's the only way to win. Well, there's also h5. Actually, h5 also winning. Because yeah, you get some long-term attack anyway. Even if you get queen e5, queen d7, I can take go rook h7, right? Now he's changed his mind. There's a nice defence. Queen e5, king g8. But f4 is a great move. f4 just kills black's counterplay, and that really just kills the game. That's one defensive idea. Bring the queen to g7. It's just gone. So you basically are going to get opened up, and at that point the game is over. So great game by Zoe, but it's interesting to see found this idea of queen g5, which I think was a great way to play against Siraj, who's quite a good player. And you know that's often how she wins her games, is through good prep and being, you know, she's quite good tactically, Zoe. So she likes to play aggressively, and that really paid off in this game. So I think that's one of the ways in which to attack the Alekhine's defence is with this move queen g5. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe, and so on, so that this video will get promoted on the algorithm. But that is how to beat the Alekhine defence, or Alekhine's defence, named after the famous world chess champion who represented France as well, I believe. So he went from Russia to France. Did he also represent Germany? I'm not sure. Anyway, that's the video. Thanks a lot for watching.